Today, I'll be talking about how, excuse me for just a moment. Hello? I cannot talk about this right now. I'm in the middle of a speech. Okay, I will talk to you later. Bye. Sorry about that. Now, where was I? In this informative speech, I will be talking about how cell phones should be restricted from a classroom setting. The three main points I'll be discussing about the abuse of cell phones in classrooms concern about how some teachers neglect their responsibilities in the classroom, multiple distractions, and constant cheating. The question then is, why should cell phones be restricted from the classroom? Quoted by Elizabeth Reader in the New York Times Upfront magazine published in 2008 by Jennifer Garcia, she says, "Schools make rules to facilitate a quality education in a respectful and safe environment. Cell phones are a distraction and have no place there. I support rules banning their use by students and staff in the classroom." Quoted by Ricky Hendricks in the New York Times Magazine published in 2010 by Matt Davis, he comments, "Teachers are always getting on to us for using our cell phones when they can't even put down their own cell phones." Cell phones are not only becoming an issue with students in the classroom in today's society, they are becoming an issue with teachers as well. We've all had that one teacher that during an important lesson or during an important test, they have to take an important phone call or answer to a text. All of a sudden, your concentration gets thrown off and you're wondering what they're talking about to that other person or what they're texting to that other person, and it disrupts the learning process. Kids come to school to get an education, but what's the use whenever the teachers themselves won't even give the kids the chance to get an education? I witnessed this myself this past semester, this spring, whenever I took a class. This one teacher, she would come in almost every day, sit in the back of the room, behind her desk, on her cell phone, and act like she didn't even have a classroom. She was oblivious to any activity that was going on in the room. Some days she would even come in the classroom and tell the class that she didn't do her lesson plans, and she would get on her phone to stall time until class would be over. To me, those kind of teachers need to stop neglecting their responsibilities in the classroom, start teaching the kids, and start doing what they're getting paid to do. Outside of emergency use, I think cell phones should be prohibited from the classroom. Quoted by Kevin Hart in the National Education Association magazine published in 2011 by Morgan Diaz, he comments, "Many teachers say cell phones have officially replaced chewing gum as the classroom menace. Constant ringing, chirping, buzzing, and texting are interfering with students and learning, and some students are also even storing notes on their phones to cheat on tests." Cell phones are distracting the kids from even learning anything. They are either worried about what they're going to send their friends next or what they're going to receive from their friends whenever they send their text back. It's not letting them fully focus on the lesson. Now, in today's society, say in class one day you were trying to listen to your teacher give out your final study guide, and she said she was not going to repeat a single word. All of a sudden, she was getting ready to say that one important word you knew that you needed to know in the test, and all of a sudden, one of the students got a notification. You missed the word. You would get really, really frustrated. Now, depending on what students send other students, it could possibly start a chain reaction of giggles or comments. And to me, that would just be really, really distracting. I witnessed this myself in the same class I mentioned earlier. At one point in time during that class, about 15 cell phones went off during class time. And I got really frustrated because they were interfering with my education. I can only imagine how the other kids felt that weren't using their phones in the classroom. Now, kids these days, cell phones are really, really attached to them. They cannot live without them. In class, they could either be texting a relative or friends, they could be Snapchatting to other friends, they could be scrolling through Twitter or Facebook, or even playing various games like Flappy Bird or Angry Birds. It really don't matter. They just kind of use them to stall time and take up class time. Cell phones today in class need to be banned from the classroom because it is taking away from the lesson. Mentioned on www.usnews.com, published in 2009, accessed on July the 25th of 2014 by Zach Miner said, "Forget passing handwritten notes underneath desks or inking your arm for essential math formulas before killer tests. If kids want to cheat today, they have a more insidious tool at their disposal: cell phones." Now, out of all of the cons of cell phones being in a classroom, to me this is the biggest one: cheating. There should be no tolerance for this epidemic. I mean, it's not only cheating themselves, it's also cheating the school system, because it's not properly allowing the school system to see how well the kids are progressing in their educational endeavors, and it is not allowing the kids to retain any information at all, or even let them have a chance at excelling in life. I mean, there comes a point in time where you won't be able to cheat. And personally, I think it needs to be stopped in the school systems right now, because it is getting to be a huge problem. Now, don't get me wrong, not everybody cheats. So the students that really don't cheat, getting the cell phones banned, it really wouldn't be a big problem to them. But to the students who do cheat, yeah, it would be a big problem. Cell phones in the classroom are becoming a horrible experience for teachers and the students. It is becoming the biggest downfall in society. Grades are not being earned, they are being stolen. I witnessed this firsthand in the same class that I mentioned earlier. Again, I would stay up multiple hours of the night until about 3 or 4 o'clock, only get about an hour's sleep of rest, or maybe even a half an hour at that. And I would come to school and I would be so tired and so ragged out because I didn't get enough sleep from that night, and I'd be worrying about if I'd do good on the really hard test or the hard quiz. Now, some other students in the classroom, it was an everyday thing. I would see them bring out their cell phones, stick them on their laps whenever the teacher wasn't looking, or slide them up their sleeve to where they could cheat, have the study guide or notes, or even like what they had already pre-written for an essay exam. To me, that made me so frustrated. I couldn't even focus on the test because I knew what was going on. It was not fair to me because I wasn't getting the satisfaction of fully knowing that everybody else was earning their grade like I was. Now, to me, that just made my blood boil, because it wasn't right. No matter how hard I studied or no matter how hard I tried, the kids who would always cheat, they would always get a better grade than me. Now, cell phones with the cheating, it is not only not allowing them to progress any, it is destroying the challenge of learning something new in today's education system. All in all, in conclusion, cell phones need to be restricted from the classroom, because teachers, they can fully focus on the lesson and actually teach the class and start giving them an education. Secondly, the students will not get distracted from any social media sites or any friends or relatives that they are on their phones. And then lastly, they will not be able to cheat the system or themselves for using their cell phones. And you know, people wonder why West Virginia keeps falling behind in national rank in the education. Well, I've just presented one of the biggest problems and some of its detrimental effects, and that one problem is allowing cell phones in the classroom.